All right, let's talk about factoring. And we're starting with the basics here. We're going to start with the greatest common factor, sometimes known as GCF. So here we go. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at polynomials, which means multiple terms, but we're going to look at each one and see, is there something that I can pull out of every single term? And by pull out, we mean actually factor out certain things, right? So ideas here. Let me look at first. Let's say we had 2x squared plus 8x. So something super basic like this. What we want to do, remember, these are different terms. Terms are separated by plus or minus signs. Now, the sign, though, is connected to the value here. Okay, so we just need to understand that as well. So we want to look at numbers first and say, is there a greatest common factor in these things? So you can think about like 2 and 1, and 8 is 8 and 1, 4 and 2. That's really it right there. So what is the greatest common factor? Well, there's only one common factor, and that's 2. So we can actually pull a 2 out of both of those. And then we're going to do this same thing here with the the x's, is we think x is x and x. This x is just x. What is the greatest common factor? Well, they both have an x common factor, and the greatest one, there's only a single x in both of those. So I can pull an x out of that as well, right? So then that leaves me with just x plus 8, right? Because essentially what you do, you come up here and you divide that by 2 and you divide that by 2. Oh, yikes, I didn't do that by 2, did I? Well, that's my mistake there. So let's do, what is 8 divided by 2 is 4. So that should be a 4 hanging out there, right? And then you come out here, and since you took an x, we're going to divide x squared by x, and that gives me an x. Take x divided by x, it gives me a 1. 1 times 4 is still 4. Okay, so greatest common factor, so let's see that again. 2x squared plus 8x. Pull a 2x out, and you're left with x plus 4. Now, how do we check it? Distribute. That's how you go back and check. Then you get 2x squared plus 8x. If that matches that, then we're golden. Okay, so let's do a few of these right here. Let's do number 1, right? 16p to the 4th, 4p cubed. Go ahead. What's the greatest common factor? So greatest common factor, and I could do that factor tree every single time, but I want to think 16 and 4, what's the greatest common factor between those? I think it's going to be a 4. And then we got p to the 4th, p cubed. So the greatest possibly that I can pull out is a p cubed. I'd love to be able to pull a p4 out, but we are limited by this one right here. So then if I divide 16 by 4, I get 4. P to the 4th divided by p cubed, we get p. Plus 4p cubed divided by 4p cubed, well, that's got to be a 1, right? You can't just let it go away. But that's it right there. That's all we're doing with that one. All right, let's look at number 2 here. 9x plus 36. All right, let's think about numbers. What's the greatest common factor? I think we can pull a 9 out of both. But then there's no x term on here, so we're not going to be able to pull a variable out of it because they don't both have a variable. So that means this one, 9 divided by 9 is 1. X is still hanging there, so 1x. Plus 36 divided by 9 is 4, right? So we got a 9x plus 4. So nice job. All right, let's do a couple more just to kind of have the rhythm going here. All right, 63 and 45, and we have a B. All right, I'm thinking 63 and 45. I think 7, no, 9, 5, 63. Trying to think, 63 could be 9 and, yeah, 9. 9, what am I thinking? 9 and 7, and then 45 is 9 and 5. So they both have a 9 involved in them. So let's do 9 here, and if I do that by 9, because they don't both have b's, so that's all I can do. So then 63 divided by 9 is 7, plus 45 divided by 9 is 5, and then we do have a b. So there we go, right? 9 times 7 plus 5b. Let's do this one here. All right, what are we seeing? Greatest common factor. Think about it. What is it? 6 and 3? Do they have a common factor? Absolutely, they have a 3. N cubed and n to the 5th. What's our limiting factor? n cubed. They're both n's, but n cubed is the limit that we can do. All right, 6n cubed, 6 divided by 3 is 2. N cubed divided by n cubed is 1, so 2 times 1 is still 2. We still have the minus sign there. 3 divided by 3 is 1. N to the 5th divided by n cubed is n squared. All right, that's it. That's what we got right here. Okay, and one last one. We'll do number 5 here just for good measure. Okay, I see a -6 and a -6. So since this first term is negative, let's go ahead and pull that negative with it. So let's call it -6. Then we got r to the 5th, r to the 4th. What's our limiting factor? R to the 4th, right? We can only pull as much out as we can pull from everything. So that's it. -6 divided by -6 is 1. R to the 5th divided by r to the 4th is just going to give me an r. Now, since I'm pulling the negative out, a negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive. 6r fourth divided by 6r fourth is 1. We guys always got to have a placeholder. And that's what we got. All right, guys, that's it. Greatest common factor, literally looking at every term. And as the terms get bigger, look at every single term we do. Okay, and that's it. So take that on, and we'll hit this up in class a little better.